What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome on back to our Elden Ring guided experience. And in this part, we're taking a look at the next major boss, Rennala of the Full Moon. Now, this is a two-phase boss fight. The first phase is fairly simple. She is going to be floating in a orb up in the sky, and you need to find singing scholars that are in the room. They'll have similar orbs around them. After attacking and shattering the orb around 3 scholars, she'll fall down, and you can then do damage to her. This is usually going to take 2 or 3 attempts, depending on how much damage you're getting into Rennala when she falls from the sky. Now, the more difficult part of this fight is going to be in Phase 2. In Phase 2, a lot of aspects of the fight change, and that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, there are a couple different spells that Rennala is going to use in the second phase of her fight, but there's 3 that I want to call attention to. The first that you're seeing is Comet Azure. And this is a large beam, which, if it connects, will do a lot of damage. However, the tracking on this is pretty bad, and you're usually able to just sidestep this or roll to the side to avoid it completely. The second, which you see her doing almost constantly, is Star Shower. This will create little magic orbs that will chase the character, and the big danger from this isn't so much the damage, it's the fact that it could clip you and interrupt you, which will then cause you to fail to dodge one of the more damaging abilities, like the Comet that you just saw her throw out, or the Comet Azure, which you see her continuing to do. Now, a lot of this stuff can be dodged while sidestepping. We also have some crystal magic sorceries like the one she just did, and that'll be a little bit faster than the Star Shower. And besides that, she also has Full Moon, where she will summon a giant moon that'll come on after you. However, largely just walking to the side or rolling to the side and staying on top of her, you can avoid a lot of the damage potential that she has in store. Here is an example of Full Moon. As you can see, she will go up in the sky, summon a moon, and then this will slowly come towards you, and when it gets close to making contact, it'll then explode. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is how she summons. As the fight progresses, Rennala is going to make use of multiple different spirit summons, which will typically come out and then attempt to chase you. You can simply run away until these summons disappear, and then get on in and try to do some additional damage to her. There are 2 that I would suggest avoiding in particular. If she summons up the Oathsworn Dragon, which you can see right now, I'd suggest running away. And if she summons up the Oathsworn Giant, or the Troll, I'd suggest running away. If you see the Wolves or the Bloodflame Warrior, I'd suggest using those opportunities to get on in and do some damage. But as long as you follow these simple tips, the Rennala encounter isn't all that bad, as she doesn't have a lot of poise, and it's very easy to get on top of her and knock her out of a lot of her attack animations. So, with all that being said, let's head on in. For this fight, I do think it's worth using your Ashen Summon, but I would suggest saving it until you're in the second phase of the fight, as it's not going to really contribute that much in the initial phase of this encounter. So as we run on in, what we're looking for is this glowing effect on these scholars. You want to find the scholars that are glowing, run on up and kill them. They should only take a single hit to die. And after killing 3, Rennala will then fall from the sky. We're going to start charging up a heavy attack. When she starts glowing, back away. If you don't back away, she will blow up, and you'll take a little bit of damage. Now she's into phase 2. All that's going to happen is her sweetums will begin flying at you. But one thing I want to talk about is finding them. So while we're hiding here in a corner, one trick is the one that you need to kill is always singing. So this is much easier if you have headphones on, but you can hear how in the left ear, you should be able to hear the location. So as you're running around, if you don't immediately see the scholar that you need to kill, just listen. When you hear the singing, that's how you know you're getting close. That's going to be it for phase 1. Now, phase 2 is almost always going to open with a Comet Azure. So as soon as the phase gets open, just walk, get ready, and gotch. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and summon up Caden. As we already mentioned, for these, you can pretty much just walk and avoid them. But Rennala she has almost no poise. She is very easy to get on top of and bully. So, especially with an Ashen summon, especially with something like Caden, she's not going to have a lot of time to cast, and you're going to be able to trivialize her pretty easy. You can do this even by yourself. It's just going to be an even easier encounter having someone like Caden on top of her doing damage. As we mentioned with her summons, if it is the wolves or the bloodhound, get on in there and attack. If it is the dragon or the troll or the giant, go ahead and retreat. There's the dragon. We're just going to back up. He's doing the upper. Nope. Doing the crash. And he's already gone. One more hit. And with that, you have defeated Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon. So to briefly talk about her remembrance, Rennala's remembrance can give you access to her moon spell, which she didn't actually do in the encounter, but it is a very strong spell. Alternatively, it can give you access to her staff, which is considered to be overall the strongest staff in the game. While it only boosts full moon sorceries, it does have the benefit of having incredibly high stat scaling on it. This chest right now is actually tied to a different quest, so you won't be able to open that up for the time being. But we now have a grace after taking her out. And the next thing I want to talk about is you have now unlocked the ability to respec. Now, to respec in Elden Ring, you're going to need to have a larval tear. Now, there's quite a few places that you can find these. We got one in the previous episode to at least give you a singular one for now. But the way this would work is by talking to Rennala. We can change cosmetics, of course, but we can already do this back at the round table. More importantly, by going to Rebirth, this will use a larval tear, and what she is going to do is reset all of your stats to where they were at base. So you can see I can now completely reallocate. So if I wasn't enjoying playing as strength, maybe I want to change things up. Okay, we'll do that. We'll keep our mind where it was at. Endurance, I'll go a little bit less, and I will put that. So now if I was to hit confirm, my new stats would be 40, 13, 15, 14, 24. I wouldn't use the Zweihander anymore, which you can see the attack power on it would go down. But until you hit confirm, you're not actually going to spend that larval tear. As you can see, since you weren't reborn with new attributes, the larval tear was not spent. But this is particularly useful in Elden Ring, because if you don't have enough health, or you're unable to meet weapon requirements, maybe you put stats over into Faith and Arcane for Bloodflame Blade, and then decided that you weren't enjoying Bloodflame Blade. Well, you could come over here, respec, and get those stat points back and put them somewhere else. In a single playthrough of Elden Ring, if you were to get all of them, I want to say there's 10 to 15 larval tiers that you can find. So there's quite a lot per playthrough you can get. I wouldn't suggest respecing over a single stat point until you're towards the end of the game, but if you're not comfortable with the build you're playing, that is what respec is for. So don't be shy about using it if you want to change things up. Either way, that is going to wrap things up. With that, we are clear of the academy, and in our next part, we're going to be going on up to Caria Manor, and then from there, we're going to be using the tunnel here to make our way on up to Gelmir. So make sure